All right, so today we are diving deep into a topic that I think a lot of people have maybe thought about, dreamt about doing as a business.
Oh, yeah.
And that is building an event decoration business.
Okay.
Going from maybe doing this for your friends and family
Yeah.
to actually making this a legit business.
Right.
So before we dive in, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself, how you got into event decoration?
Sure. So I started helping friends and family with events, birthdays, graduations, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then people started asking me, hey, can you do my wedding? And I was kind of hesitant at first, but I thought, why not? I'll give it
Yeah.
a shot. And
Yeah.
I realized I loved it. I mean, it's so creative, and you're really helping people celebrate these special moments in their lives.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my entry point.
Okay, cool. So let's start with the basics. When we talk about event decoration, I mean, what kind of events are we talking about here? Is it just weddings, or is it a little bit more broad than that?
Oh, no, it's way more than just weddings. I mean, weddings are a big part of it, of course.
Sure.
But you've got birthdays, corporate events, anniversaries, baby showers, basically any occasion where people are gathering and want to create a special atmosphere.
So, like, you could be doing a kid's birthday party one day
Exactly.
and then, like, a corporate gala the next.
Exactly. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
The variety keeps things interesting.
Yeah, you're not doing the same thing every day.
No, not at all.
Hmm.
Every event is unique, and every client has their own vision.
So you have to be pretty adaptable.
Yeah, you definitely have to be able to think on your feet. But that's part of the fun.
Okay, so let's talk about, I guess, what makes an event decorator stand out? Like, I feel like anyone can, like, buy some balloons and streamers and, call themselves a decorator.
Oh, for sure.
So what is it that, like, takes it to that next level?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the real key is that ability to create those like custom personalized touches. It's not just about throwing up some decorations.
Right.
It's about understanding the client's vision, their style, the theme of the event,
Yeah.
and then bringing that to life through like unique design elements.
Okay, can you give us some, like, specific examples of what that might look like?
Sure. So let's say you're doing a wedding
Mm-hmm.
and the couple really loves like vintage travel.
Okay.
You might incorporate things like antique globes, old suitcases, maybe even vintage maps as part of the table decor.
Oh, that's cool.
Or for a kid's birthday party, if they're into superheroes, you could create a custom photo booth with a cityscape backdrop and like superhero capes and masks for the kids to wear.
That's so cute.
It's about those little details that really make an event special and memorable.
So you're really creating an experience, not just decorating a space.
Exactly. It's about telling a story through the decor.
Ooh. Okay, I love that. So it sounds like creativity is obviously like a key ingredient here.
Absolutely. It's essential.
But what about the business side of things? Like, what are some of the essential skills that someone needs to, actually turn this passion into a profitable business?
Well, creativity is just the starting point.
Mhm.
You also need to be super organized, have great communication skills, and be able to manage your time and budget effectively.
So it's not just about being artistic.
Not at all. It's about running a business.
Yeah.
You're dealing with clients, vendors, contracts, invoices.
Yeah, so there's like a whole logistical side to it as well.
Exactly. It's a lot of juggling, but it's worth it when you see the final product come together.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening to this and they're like, okay, I'm sold. I want to start an event decoration business.
Right.
What would be like the first steps?
The first step is to do your research. Like really understand the market in your area.
Okay.
Who are your competitors? What services are they offering? What are they charging?
So get a feel for like what's already out there.
Exactly. And then once you have a good understanding of the landscape, you can start thinking about your own unique niche.
Okay. So you're figuring out like what's going to make you stand out
Yeah.
from the competition.
Exactly. What's your special sauce? What can you offer that no one else can?
Okay, so you've done your research, you've figured out your niche. What's next?
Well, then you need to create a solid business plan.
Okay.
It's your roadmap to success, really.
Yeah.
It outlines your services, your target market, your financial goals, your marketing strategy. It's a living document, so you can adjust it as you go. But having that initial plan in place is crucial.
So you're not just winging it.
No, definitely not. You need to be strategic and organized if you want to build a successful business.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about something that I think is visually very important in this business, which is building a portfolio. I mean, how does someone even start doing that? Especially when they're just starting out and maybe they don't have a lot of like real client projects to showcase?
Yeah, that's a common challenge.
Yeah.
But there are definitely ways to build a portfolio even if you're just starting out. You can offer to decorate for friends or family events,
Okay.
birthdays, baby showers, even just a dinner party.
Right.
The key is to treat it like a real client project.
Oh, okay.
Come up with a theme, create a design plan, and execute it to the best of your ability. And of course, take lots of high-quality photos.
So even if it's just for your like aunt's 50th birthday party,
Exactly.
if you do a really good job and you capture it well,
Yeah,
you can use that.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
all about showcasing your skills and creativity.
Okay, so you're building your portfolio. What about the online presence? Like these days, I feel like everyone needs a website, social media, all of that.
Oh, yeah. A strong online presence is absolutely essential for any business these days, especially for a visual business like event decoration.
Yeah, because people want to see like what
Oh,
you've done.
exactly. They want to see your style, your aesthetic, your previous work.
So a website, is that a must-have?
Oh, for sure. A website is your online storefront. It's where you showcase your services, your pricing, your portfolio, and client testimonials.
Okay, and then what about social media? Like which platforms are the most important for an event decorator?
Instagram, probably the
Perfect
most
one.
important one because it's so visual. You can post beautiful photos and videos of your work and reach a wide audience.
Okay.
Pinterest is also great because people are actively searching for ideas and inspiration on there.
Right, yeah.
And Facebook can be helpful for connecting with local clients and building a community around your business.
So it's kind of like a multi-pronged approach.
Definitely. You want to have a presence on multiple platforms to maximize your reach.
Okay, so you've got the portfolio, the website, the social media. But how do you actually like get those clients in the door?
Right.
What are some of the most effective marketing strategies for this business?
Well, first and foremost, word of mouth is incredibly powerful. Happy clients are your best advocates. So always make sure you're exceeding expectations and providing a fantastic experience.
So basically like good customer service.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask those happy clients for referrals or to leave reviews online.
Right, yeah.
Beyond that, networking is crucial.
Okay.
Get out there and meet other vendors in the wedding and event industry. Wedding planners, photographers, caterers.
Build those relationships.
Exactly. They can be great referral sources.
Okay, cool. So we've talked about the creative side, the business side, the marketing. Now let's talk about the money.
Right.
Everyone wants to know, like, what kind of earning potential is there in this business?
Sure. Well, like any business, it really depends on a number of factors.
Okay.
How much you charge, how many events you book, your overhead costs.
Okay, yeah.
But the earning potential is definitely there, especially as you gain experience and build your reputation.
So, like, could someone realistically, like, make a full-time income from this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know many event decorators who are making a very comfortable living doing what they love.
Okay, so we're not just talking about, like, side hustle money here.
No, not at all. This
Yeah.
could be a legitimate, thriving business.
Okay, I love that. But let's break it down a little bit. Can you give us some examples of, like, what someone might charge for different types of events?
Sure. So for a small birthday party, you might charge a few $100s.
Okay.
For a larger wedding, you could be looking at several $1,000s. It really depends on the scope of the project, the level of customization, and the overall budget of the event.
Well, so, like, a wedding where you're doing all the flowers, all the linens, all the centerpieces, that's obviously going to be way more than just, like, a simple balloon arch for a birthday party.
Exactly. It's all about scaling your pricing to the scope of the project.
Okay, that makes sense. So, let's talk about, I guess, some of the challenges, because it sounds like a really fun and creative business, but I'm sure it's not all, like, glitter and rainbows.
You're right. It's definitely not always easy. One of the biggest challenges is competition.
Oh, okay.
This industry can be pretty saturated in some areas.
Yeah.
So you really need to find a way to stand out and differentiate yourself.
So finding that niche that we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And then, there's always the pressure of making sure everything is perfect on the day of the event.
Right, yeah.
Things can go wrong.
Yeah.
A centerpiece might break. The weather might not cooperate.
Yeah, the kick might fall over.
Exactly. You need to be able to think on your feet and handle those unexpected challenges with grace.
So you're basically A problem solver.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
But it's also about being creative and resourceful, turning those challenges into opportunities.
Okay, so it sounds like you need to be like a little bit of a type A personality to like handle all that.
You definitely need to be organized and detail-oriented,
Yeah.
but you also need to be able to go with the flow and not let those little hiccups stress you out too much.
So it's a balance.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance,
Yeah.
but once you find it, it's incredibly rewarding.
Okay, so let's talk about, I guess, keeping those creative juices flowing because, I imagine that in this business, you're constantly having to come up with new ideas, new designs.
Right.
So how do you, like, stay inspired and avoid getting, burnt out or, like, creatively stuck?
That's a great question. I think it's important to constantly be seeking out inspiration.
Okay.
Looking at design blogs, attending industry events, even just paying attention to what's happening in fashion or art.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, inspiration can come from anywhere. I also think it's important to take breaks, step away from the computer, get out into nature.
Yeah.
Sometimes a change of scenery is all you need to clear your head and spark new ideas.
So it's about, like, nurturing that creative spirit
Absolutely.
and not letting it, like, get stale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to feed your creativity if you want it to flourish.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different aspects of this business, but I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about creating those like custom personalized touches. Can you give us some more examples of what that might look like in like different types of events?
No. So for a corporate event, maybe you're launching a new product.
Okay.
You could create custom signage with the product logo and colors.
Right.
Or like a step and repeat backdrop for photo ops.
I've seen those at like red carpet events and stuff.
Exactly. It's all about branding and creating a cohesive look that reflects the company's identity.
Okay, that makes sense. What about for something like a baby shower?
For a baby shower, you could create a custom dessert table with personalized cookies and cupcakes.
Cute.
Or like a balloon garland in the baby's nursery colors. Or even like a DIY onesie decorating station for the guests.
Oh, that's fun.
It's about those little details that really make an event special and personalized.
So you're really thinking about the guests and like how they're going to interact with the space.
Exactly. It's not just about creating something pretty to look at.
Yeah.
It's about creating an experience.
Okay, I love that. So let's talk about, I guess, one of the like biggest decisions that someone has to make when they're starting this business. And that's whether to like specialize in a certain type of event or to like offer a wider range of services. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a tough one, and it really depends on your personal preferences and your market.
Okay.
Some decorators prefer to specialize, maybe they only do weddings or they only do corporate events.
Right.
That allows them to really become experts in that niche and to streamline their services and marketing.
Okay, so they're like the go-to person for
right.
that specific type of event.
Exactly. But other decorators prefer to offer a wider range of services. They'll do everything from birthday parties to corporate galas to weddings.
Yeah.
That gives them more flexibility and allows them to tap into a larger market.
So there's pros and cons to both approaches.
Definitely. It's all about figuring out what works best for you and your business goals.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say someone is like leaning towards specializing. How do they choose like what to specialize in?
I think it's important to choose something that you're passionate about.
Okay.
If you love weddings and you're drawn to the romance and the elegance of those events, then wedding decoration might be a good fit for you.
Right.
If you're more drawn to the creativity and the whimsy of children's parties, then that might be your niche. It's about following your heart and your interests.
Okay, so it's not just about like what's the most profitable or what's
Right.
like the most in demand.
Not necessarily. I mean, those are important considerations,
Yeah.
but ultimately you're going to be more successful and more fulfilled if you're doing something that you love.
Okay, I love that. So let's talk about, I guess, some of the like trends that you're seeing in the event decoration world right now, because I feel like any creative field, there are always like new trends emerging.
Oh, absolutely. Things are constantly evolving in this industry.
Yeah.
One trend that I'm really excited about is the move towards sustainability and eco-friendly decor.
Oh, okay.
Using natural materials, repurposed items, locally sourced flowers.
So it's like being mindful of the environment.
Exactly. It's about creating beautiful events without harming the planet.
Yeah, I love that. What other trends are you seeing?
Well, personalization is huge right now. Clients want their events to be unique and reflective of their personal style.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of custom details like monograms, hand-lettered signage, even incorporating elements that tell the couple's love story or the birthday girl's favorite thing.
So it's like moving away from those like cookie cutter designs.
Exactly. It's about creating something truly unique and special for each client.
Okay, cool. What about in terms of like colors and styles? Are there any like hot trends in those areas?
Well, we're definitely seeing a lot of bold colors and patterns right now.
Okay.
People are embracing vibrant hues and playful prints. But at the same time, there's still a strong appreciation for classic elegance and timeless designs.
So there's kind of like a balance between the two.
Exactly. It's all about finding what works best for the client
Yeah.
and the overall vibe of the event.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about something that I think can be a little bit intimidating for people who are just starting out in this business,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pricing.
Right.
Like, how do you know like what to charge for your services? Is there a magic formula?
I wish there was a magic formula,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, it's not that simple.
Okay.
There are a lot of factors to consider, your costs, your experience, the marketing, your area.
Yeah.
But one thing I always tell new decorators is to not undervalue themselves.
Okay.
You're providing a valuable service,
Right.
and you deserve to be compensated fairly for your time and expertise.
So don't be afraid to like charge what you're worth.
Exactly. And remember, you can always adjust your pricing as you gain experience and build your reputation.
Okay, that makes sense. So, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to ask you, like, what's the most rewarding part of this job for you? Like, what is it that keeps you coming back for more?
Honestly, it's seeing the look on the client's face
Mm-hmm.
when they see the finished product. When they walk into the space and their eyes light up and they're just like, wow, this is exactly what I envisioned. That moment makes all the hard work worth it.
So it's about creating that like magical experience for them and
Yeah.
seeing their like reaction.
Absolutely. It's about making their dreams come true.
Okay, I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. This has been a really fascinating look into the world of event decoration.
It's been my pleasure.
And for all of you listening out there, we hope this has inspired you to maybe, explore your own creative side and maybe even consider turning your passion for event decor into a thriving business.
And, it's not just about the client's reaction. It's also about the creative process itself. Coming up with those ideas, seeing those visions come to life, that's incredibly rewarding too.
Yeah, it's like you're an artist, but
Uh,
your canvas is like a whole event space.
Exactly. And you're using all these different elements like flowers and fabrics and lighting
Mm-hmm.
to create a mood, an atmosphere, a feeling.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the like practical challenges that come with this job.
Sure.
Because, we talked about those like last minute disasters that can happen,
Right.
but I imagine there are like other challenges that come with, actually running this business.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like what are some of the things that like keep you up at night?
Well, logistics can be a big one.
Okay.
Transporting all those decorations, setting them up, making sure everything's in place.
Right.
And sometimes you're working in like really tight spaces or on uneven terrain.
So it's not always like glamorous.
No, definitely not.
Like it might look on Instagram.
There's a lot of sweat and sometimes even a few tears involved.
Okay, so how do you like stay organized and prevent those like logistical nightmares?
Well, I'm a big believer in checklists.
Okay.
I have a checklist for everything,
Mhm.
from packing the van to setting up the tables to breaking down the decor at the end of the night.
So you're like super organized.
I try to be. It just makes things so much easier and helps to prevent those last-minute panics.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about dealing with difficult clients? Because I'm sure like any service-based business, you're going to encounter some like challenging personalities.
Oh, yeah, you definitely will.
So how do you like handle those situations?
Well, communication is key.
Okay.
Really listening to the client, understanding their needs and expectations.
Right.
And sometimes it's about like gently guiding them in a different direction.
Okay.
If they have an idea that's just not going to work or is
Okay.
outside of their budget, you need to be able to explain that to them in a way that's like diplomatic and helpful.
So it's about like managing those expectations and being like honest, but also like tactful.
Right. Because at the end of the day, you want them to be happy,
Yeah.
but you also need to protect your own business and your own sanity.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about inspiration.
Okay.
Because, you're a creative person, you're constantly having to come up with new ideas. So how do you like stay inspired and avoid getting burnt out?
That's a great question, and it's something that I'm always working on.
Yeah.
I think it's important to expose yourself to new things.
Okay.
Travel, go to museums, see a show, read a book.
So like anything that kind of gets those creative juices flowing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also find that taking breaks and spending time in nature is really helpful.
Yeah.
Just clearing your head and getting some fresh air.
Okay, so it's about like finding that balance
Mhm.
between like the hustle and the like creative downtime.
Exactly. You need both to thrive.
Okay, so let's talk about a specific challenge that I think a lot of creative entrepreneurs face.
Okay.
And that's like imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of like, I'm not good enough or I don't belong here. Have you ever struggled with that?
Oh, absolutely. I think most creative people have at some point.
Yeah.
It's so easy to compare yourself to others and to feel like you're not measuring up.
Right, yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that everyone's journey is different,
Okay.
and you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
So like focus on your own path
Hmm.
and not like get caught up in comparing yourself to other people.
Exactly. And celebrate your own successes, no matter how small they may seem.
Okay, so it's about like building that confidence and like silencing that inner critic.
Exactly. Because you have something unique to offer the world.
Okay, so let's talk about I guess the future of this business. Like where do you see the event decoration industry going in the next few years?
Well, I think technology is going to play an even bigger role.
Okay.
We're already seeing things like projection mapping and interactive installations,
Right.
and I think that's only going to continue to grow.
So it's like taking event decor to a whole new level.
Exactly. And I also think that sustainability is going to become even more important.
Yeah.
Clients are going to be more and more conscious of the environmental impact of their events.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about any advice that you would give to someone who's like thinking about starting an event decoration business?
Well, I would say, first of all, do your research,
Yeah.
understand the market, know your competition, and figure out what makes you unique.
Just find your niche.
Exactly. And then don't be afraid to just go for it.
Yeah.
Take that leap of faith and start building your dream.
So like what's the worst that can happen?
You might learn a few lessons along the way,
Yeah.
but you'll never regret pursuing your passion.
Okay, I love that. So, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to ask you a personal question. What is it about event decor that like really lights you up? Like, what is it that you love most about this job?
For me, it's about creating those magical moments,
Okay.
transforming a space into something truly special and seeing the joy on people's faces when they experience it.
So it's about creating those memories
Yeah.
that people are gonna like cherish forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, I can see why you love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
Of course.
It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
You too.
And for all of you listening out there, stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive where we'll be talking about some of the key strategies for success in this business.
So we've talked about a lot of different aspects of starting and running an event decoration business.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. So I thought maybe for this last part, we could focus on some actionable tips.
Okay, I like that.
Things that people can actually do to take their business to the next level.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, so tip number 1, I would say, is invest in your education.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily mean going back to school or anything like
Yeah,
that,
right.
but there are so many great resources out there, online courses, workshops, conferences
Yeah.
that can teach you everything from the basics of design to advanced business strategies.
Okay, so you're constantly learning and growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to stay ahead of the curve in this industry.
Okay, that makes sense. Tip number 2.
Network, network, network.
Okay, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
We did, but it's so important. I'm mentioning it again.
Yeah.
Get out there and meet people.
Okay.
Go to industry events. Join local business groups. Connect with other vendors on social media.
So you're building those relationships.
Exactly, because you
Yeah.
never know where your next client or referral is going to come from.
Okay, so don't be afraid to put yourself out there and make those connections.
Exactly. Be your own best advocate.
Okay, I like that. Tip number 3.
Don't be afraid to say no.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting one.
It is, but it's so important.
Okay.
Early on in my business, I felt like I had to say yes to every opportunity that came my way,
Right.
but I quickly learned that that's not sustainable.
Yeah, you can't be everything to everyone.
Exactly. So it's okay to say no to projects that aren't a good fit for you or clients that you don't vibe with.
Okay, so you're protecting your time,
Hmm.
your energy,
Yeah,
and your sanity.
exactly. It's about being selective and focusing on the projects that you're really passionate about.
Okay, that makes sense. Tip number 4.
This one is a little bit more mindset related.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Embrace the challenges
Okay.
because there will be challenges.
Right, running a business is never easy.
No, it's
Hmm.
not. There will be times when you're stressed, overwhelmed, maybe even wanting to give up.
Yeah, I think every entrepreneur feels that way sometimes.
Definitely. But it's important to remember that those challenges are opportunities for growth.
Okay.
They're going to teach you valuable lessons and make you a stronger business owner.
So it's about like reframing those challenges and
Mhm.
seeing them as like a learning experience.
Exactly. It's all about perspective.
Okay, I like that. And finally, tip number 5.
Have fun.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is, right. This is a creative business.
Hmm.
You're supposed to enjoy it.
Right.
So if you're not having fun, then something's wrong.
Okay, so don't take it too seriously.
Right.
And remember why you started this in the first place.
Exactly. Because you love it.
Okay, I love that. Well, these have been some really great tips.
I hope so.
Um, Anything else that you would add? Any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Just remember that this business is all about creating joy.
Okay.
You're helping people celebrate those special moments in their lives.
Mm.
And that's a pretty amazing thing to be a part of.
Yeah, it really is. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your expertise and your passion with us.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all of you listening out there, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to maybe explore your own creative side and maybe even consider turning your passion for event decor into a thriving business. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.